responded. Obviously, we had the entire house was shoved out onto the front lawn and collapsed. As you can see, when the mudslide came down, it shoved everything inside the house to the front. I would say, I'm not an engineer, I would say with somewhere near the force of a 747 crash into a mountain. That's the way it looks to me. So the day-by-day process was this. The first day we had a number of problems to contend with. Number one, we had continual landslides that kept happening down off that mountain. And every time one of those happens, we had spotters, but we had to evacuate all the workers. So our first objective was to search every space that someone could have been that we could get to. We spent the majority of that day getting most of the house. There was a huge roof there we had to get lifted off. And we started working on the debris that was out in the front yard so we could search every void that was there. That took us up to the end of the first day. The second day, we started digging into the debris that was parts of house that were partially buried in mud. Now the problem with that is when you pull part of the house out that's buried in mud, you run the risk of bringing the rest of that mountain down on top of us. So we had to be very, very meticulous and very careful as we did that one piece at a time, and we started working our way into the mountain. We spent the second day doing that. We got to the point that the engineers simply stopped us. We had worked far enough into that mountain that they would not let us go any further. It was just too dangerous. If we moved any more debris, it ran the chance of bringing the rest of that hillside down on top of us. So that took us up to the second day. Sorry, I skipped part of the morning of the second day. This looks so much different now. All this was trees. 30, 40, 50, 60 foot trees. We literally could not see the slide from the bottom. So the first half of the second day, we had to have a tree crew in here and tree fallers taking all this brush out so that we could see. Otherwise, we're just guessing. We're relying on our spotters to tell us when rocks are coming, and we can't even see them till they clear the trees. It doesn't give us enough reaction time. So once we got that out, then we worked on the debris as far as the engineers would let us. That took us to the end of the second day. The third day, because we had gone as far as we could without moving the mountain, we spent the first part of the day clearing out debris out of the slide portion, and then we took the equipment down and we had to put the new slope on the mountain. That's a shallow enough slope that the engineers would let us go back in there and work. Now you can see we've only made it halfway across the house. This was our most likely area to search from the interviews that we got. So we're going to get this half done and then we'll move on. Half of this house is still buried under 25 feet of material, you can see. So this is going to be a very, very time-consuming process. Now we're down into the parts of the house. They're working right on the basement floor, or the floor of the house. It didn't have a basement. It was all one level. They're down onto the concrete floor. This is simply handwork at this point. We're moving it, they're piling it up, and then the backhoe operator reaches in, takes the pile, and we haul it away. This takes a lot of time to go through it, and that's why we have so many people here. Now, secondarily to that, we're also very cautiously moving layers about 6 inches at a time across. We bring the search dogs in. We let them work the area completely. They'll bring one dog in, then they'll repeat it with another dog and another dog. They're very, very thorough. At the same time, while they're waiting for us to move dirt, they're continuing to search the entire area as we excavate. My hope today is, our objective is to get the west half of this home cleared out and the slide area between 913, which is this building, and where the original structure was, to get this all gone through. That would allow us by tomorrow morning to start moving that 25 feet of dirt on the second part of the house. That'll take at least a half a day, possibly an entire day. We'll be standing by in a rescue mode should something come down. Then once they get it down to about 5 feet, then we're back into working the second half of the house with shovels, just like we're doing here.
I just want to add one other thing, and I want to be as sensitive as I can, and I'm going to trust you folks and your journalistic integrity to be sensitive as well. We did a consultation by phone last night with pathologists and medical examiners that specialize in large landslide recoveries. And they explained to us that the G-forces are approximately equivalent to an aircraft crash. This back wall for this house was a 10-inch wide, rebarbed, reinforced concrete slab wall. and it blew it into pieces, and we found pieces out on the front lawn. So we're talking about concrete that thick. Our challenge is we have to handle this in such a way that we don't injure the bodies any more than necessary, but we also have to be aware that, you know, every shovelful may have material that we need to recover. And so the questions from the media about how come it takes so long are absolutely legitimate. We came to a conclusion as a senior management team yesterday that we could try to explain this till the cows come home. We needed to get you out here to see what we're dealing with. A picture being worth 1,000 words.
Chief, an example of that is right, that is the dryer, that 2-inch lip you see on the other end. That used to be a piece, a home appliance. It's now that tall.
So, just wanted to make that point. We're going to ask Captain Curtis now from the Logan Police Department. Now, understand, you guys have been around a while. You know NIMS, National Incident Management System, and the Incident Command System, all that training, interoperable communications, all that stuff that has come out of 9/11 is in place. Every aspect of this incident, from logistics to supply food, to public information, to work with you people, to investigations, to the tech rescue, it's all part of our incident command system. The police department has responsibility for investigating the nature of the incident and dealing with recovery of personal items, and also dealing with family relations, which are very important. And Captain Curtis is going to talk to you for a few minutes about family items, and then we're going to ask Mark Nielsen, our Public Works Director, talk a little bit about the dynamics of this hill and what we're still concerned with.